have something?
No, go ahead. Thank you.
Okay. Um, yeah, brief overview of what we're doing here. We are the team at Shielded Labs, and we're building a prototype of Crosslink. So this is a protocol that is designed to transition Zcash from proof of work to a hybrid proof of work proof of stake with a protocol called Crosslink that combines together two sub protocols. So one of those will be Zcash proof of work, and the other one will probably be BFT. Uh, so um, we're using a library called Malachite BFT, and right now, while we're prototyping, our goal is to just hook stuff together to get stuff running as quickly as possible instead of being super thorough or cautious. We'll do that later. Um, let's see. Do we need any other intro? Oh, so if you're here and you don't have an IP address, but you are still curious to try things, that's cool too. I'm hoping to learn how to run a local network using the same setup that the public people are going to be doing. Um, and yeah, what else? Okay, so since we're doing this prototype approach, every release or milestone is pretty rough around the edges. And we also have been choosing just kind of like the simplest, worst thing that could work well enough for now. So the reason we need all these addresses and IP addresses and ports is because the BFT network needs to know who the validators are. We call them finalizers because in Crosslink, all they do is finalize proof of work blocks. So they all need to know about each other, and we just said, okay, let's make a config file with that info in it. And so if I don't know what happens if different participants have semi-overlapping config files, but
Nothing
probably,
good. Nothing good.
yeah, we're not sure. So that's why we're going through like this sort of tedious setup process to make sure we get everyone's addresses before we launch the network. Yeah, so
And
that's
by
the
tedious, of
basic
course, you
overview.
mean hype building.
Yes, yes, exciting.
Thank you, Nate. Does
Any?
everybody know what Crosslink refers to, or what that is? Why it's called Crosslink? Um, what we're doing is using the block headers of each of the blocks of each of the chains. There's the best chain proof of work and the BFT proof of stake. They're going to once the finalizers, excuse me, decide on what the final block is, they'll hold a proposal and a vote and a commit and all the BFT things and sort of enshrine the final block in the proof of stake headers. And then on the proof of work side, there will be a block header field there that points back to the BFT chain as well. And that is your cross link between the two chains. And that provides finality and also the additional security guarantees by sort of giving us the best of proof of work security guarantees combined with the best of proof of stake security guarantees, which are the 51% rule and the 2/3 rule, respectively. So it's a nice little tight integration that gives us a number of things. I always like to point out whenever I talk about Crosslink that people word associate proof of stake with governance, and they think we're going to have like a DAO and votes and stuff like that. We don't have anything to do with that. We have, we're just dealing with finality right now, and I just like explicitly making that clear. So Nate, do you want to add anything? Or Zuko's here too. Hey, Zuko.
Howdy.
Good to
Got my
see
new
you.
Discord.
Yeah,
And then, Nate, go
did.
ahead, and then we'll pass it over to Andrew to get the ball rolling.
Oh yeah, So we sometimes are sticklers about naming things, and so that's why we've been calling the nodes that are responsible for signing EFT proposals. We're calling those finalizers, even though on basically every other network they're called validators. And that's because we want validator to mean a little component that you can stick anywhere that validates the train correctness. The chain correctness. And if Tachyon is successful at what it sounds like it's heading towards, then hopefully someday soon-ish, validators can be just like a little lightweight client-side thing. So every mobile wallet could have a validator in it. That's why we call these big nodes that are just signing the BFT messages finalizers. I just sort of wanted to cross-reference the different initiatives.
Any other questions there just regarding Crosslink at a high level before we dive into the technical part of the workshop? Oh, Nate's got another thing to add too.
Well, because I don't see any other questions, another thing I wanted to add, in addition to governance being out of scope, proof of stake is in scope, but this milestone doesn't have any proof of stake. So there's no hosting stake or delegating or anything like that. So just so you know, because most people want to know about that right off the bat, and it's coming down the pike in our roadmap.
I have a question. Can you say something about the sort of the block times and whether sort of the Crosslink is doing links on every block or on any couple of blocks? What are your expectations there?
My expectations are that so basically the end protocol will be a hybrid protocol with BFT ensuring that proof of work blocks can become final, and it doesn't change anything about proof of work. So that means the proof of work block target time isn't changed. So that means as long as BFT side can keep up with the proof of work block rate, it shouldn't really matter. So yeah, does that clarify? So basically, the BFT protocol could do much faster consensus, but since all it's doing right now is deciding which proof of work blocks are final, it's effectively underutilized in terms of like throughput or bandwidth or alacrity. But stay tuned
This will
for
become
like version 2.
this will become more obvious when we start the visualizer. But in this particular demo, everyone is going to be starting from an empty cache, which means that as the cache fills up, it fills up in quite large increments. So we'll get a bunch of proof of work nodes all at once, and then effectively the BFT will agree on the top of those. So we will, in this instance, get big skips, but that's not really representative of everyone being at up-to-date cache. Because at that point, your block times are way longer than the BFT consensus times. Right, do we have everyone here who is intending to be part of this workshop? I think Jason might be the only one who knows that.
Yeah, I think we're waiting on one more.
Okay.
But I think you should probably just start since it's 15 minutes into the hour.
Cool. All right. So I'm sharing my screen. Hopefully everyone can see that. Is the text big enough to read what's going on there?
Yes.
James Cat's still building. Okay, cool. All right. So if you have if you're taking part and you have the binary downloaded, I would recommend just running it to make sure that it does run. And then as soon as you know that, you can come back and we'll do this. If at any point things aren't working, just shout out. Don't feel like you have to stay quiet. Or if you prefer to stay quiet, you can put it in the text chat. and we'll try and help you out as we go. So the first thing is that we'll Nate, go for it.
Yeah, sorry, just a request. Since I want to set up a local network, I don't know if that's too complicated, but can you like describe more of the meta process also? Like, we have to get the addresses and IPs into the config file in this spot.
Yes.
And
Well, if
try to
you
check
want
them.
a network of one, that if we've done our jobs correctly, that should just be you run a node by default with no config changes. You get a network of one.
Yeah. So I'm gonna run through the process. I'm gonna go through the process of generating a TOML file which gets all of the general defaults. I will then run just by myself, showing it running how it should look. I then Sam and I and a VPS will run a very small closed BFT.
Will we? I think we go straight to
I
everything.
don't know. I think showing the connection working could be helpful, and then we'll try and get everyone in the same roster and running with everyone. So yeah, if people are happy with that, then let's get started. So if you have the binary, then the key thing to generating a TOML file is this generate command. So binary generate output and then some path to a TOML file. And now if we have a look at this, we have our very own TOML file. Very exciting. And then we can use this when we're running, just by specifying -- config, and then we get greeted with this very exciting GUI, and we have all of our startup stuff in the background on the command line. And once we're at sufficiently high level, we'll start. Okay, so let me just remove some of this information. So we've got the two chains going on here. We've got the proof of work on the left and the BFT chain on the right. You can jump around in here with this the UI. We're gradually increasing the our proof of work chain is building up quite quickly, so we're jumping quite a lot
You
here.
want to just move the window slightly to the left so we can see the buttons at the bottom right.
Oh, is that being cut off?
Let it
Sorry.
output maybe. There you go.
Is that any better? There we go. Okay. And so in my very exciting BFT network of one, we've agreed between myself on 11 nodes. And yeah, let's step back and go level higher. So if everyone has generated their TOML file, when it looked like this with a bunch of sections, each with some config info, and we're going to add one. Oh wait, we've already got one for Crosslink. This needs three things. It needs a public address, which is our ID to the world, a listen address, which is just a local place to listen for data, and the roster, which is everyone, including ourselves, who is part of. It's basically the public address of everyone. Okay. Now I'm just going to make sure that I'm using an empty cache so that we can all start from the same place. Channel is full.
Channel is
Is there
full.
a maximum number of people that can join?
Yeah, some moderator or some server admin is going to have to handle that. I think that's out of our control. So
Yeah.
Do you know the answer to that?
Okay, so I'm starting with a completely empty cache here. This is the genesis of the proof of work chain. We're gonna quickly, hopefully, get up to date on proof of work and any BFT nodes. Ooh, buddy. So this UI is for jumping to different places in the chain. If you have a positive number, it starts, it indexes directly, and if you have a negative number, it indexes from the tip. And you can do this on either the proof of work or the proof of stake chain. So we currently have one block in our BFT chain. Sam, are you seeing this?
Yes, I'm seeing it as well.
Brilliant. Okay. And just for the background information, you can see that these three blocks are all highlighting purple, and that is basically the headers inside the proof of stake block. The proof of stake block contains a payload that contains headers for all three of these blocks, so that even if one of these were on a sidechain, we can still reliably find the oldest version of these, the oldest block of these. And you can see that this is the one that is being considered final by the fact that it's a solid circle rather than an open circle. Okay, so we're getting blocks, we're getting BFT and proof of work node, proof of work blocks all coming in. Yeah, any questions at this stage, or are people ready to try and get a BFT running with everyone?
Maybe we should explain the key derivation that's happening and the config parameters.
Sure. Yeah. Let me. Yeah. So this is a very grug approach. The IP import is both the way that we are connecting to different nodes, as well as the way that we are sort of identifying them for nodes as part of the BFT network.
Yeah, so the network uses public-private key pairs for everybody, for being able to do signing and other things, and secure communication. But currently, for the ease of demoing, we derive the public and private keys from these strings that identify each person. So if if that was your mindset, you could absolutely break this thing right now. It's completely vulnerable, but it's okay for this demo. And what it means necessarily is that the public address that you put in the public address field must match exactly your own entry in the full set of Malachite peers, because if there's any mismatch between those two, your keys will be wrong.
Right. So you can see my public address here is this, and it's the same in the peer list.
Yes, and then the listen address is just instructions for what network interface to bind to listen for outbound connections. And that's why it's got the 0.0.0.0, because that's how Berkeley sockets work.
Cool. Sam says you've got the zebra.toml, but need the modifications. I think we will distribute the roster with the Crosslink section in just a second, and then everyone can add to that. The roster should be the only thing that you need to add, unless you have a pre-existing cache, in which case you want to change this so that you're starting from scratch. But if you don't have a cache already, then don't worry about that.
Okay, I'm going to tear down this network that we have right now.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're running without the GUI stuff, then you'll still get all of the information here in the terminal, which kind of the relevant things are.
How many peers are voting? We'll be looking at that later.
The height and round that we can see here, and if I can find it. Here we go. Yeah, the validators having voted.
Do we have any more IPs, or is it that the final one you sent 9 minutes ago.
Yes, exactly. That's the last one I have.
Okay. Andrew, your node is off, right?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Is there anyone who is taking part who has not managed to both run the binary and also generate a TOML file? Maybe it would be better to ask that in the opposite direction. For everyone who is taking part, have you managed to? Would you mind putting a thumbs up or something? Promising. If someone wants to disable
Hey.
GUI/sound, is that a config option or a build time option? If you,
It's both.
it's
right?
both. Audio. If you build with audio enabled, when you launch, audio is off by default. You have to go into the menu and enable it to actually have any audio come through.
Okay, thanks. I mean, I want that stuff, but I know Sean mentioned not wanting it.
Wait, sorry, GUI/sound. Yeah, the GUI itself, if it's built with the GUI, then it will always run the GUI.
Okay.
So there are two different executables, one with and one without, that we've put on the releases page. Option for Tetris music.
Our numbers are great, and our strength even greater. We have 11 peers, and the list has been published.
Our
Very
target
good.
was 10, so go team and go community, go us in the call.
Nice
But
one.
it's better to turn it up all the way to 11.
Right. So just to demonstrate what this should look like, actually, Sam, do you mind editing that? Actually, no, that's all right. Okay, so if you go into your TOML, we have this malachite peers array, and we're just pasting over that with the raster that Sam has posted. So that's going to go there. Sam, what was the part where we put my own IP? But in this crosslink section, just above the peer list, you should put the public address.
Yeah.
And
Notice as well, notice that what the format is for the string. So you've submitted your IP and port to JSON ahead of time. Go
Yep.
find that in the list and exactly copy it. Very important step.
That's libp2p format. Is that what it
Yes,
is?
it is.
Yep,
Multi-editor.
multi-editor. Yep.
And then add this line, listen address equals IP4 0000 TCP, and then your port number.
Oh, yes,
You cannot
Sean.
have a ZebraD node running at the same time as this workshop's binary. Or
But
you can
even
change the listen adder to a different port.
You should be able to, if you've made this blunder and submitted to us the port that is the normal ZebraD port, you should be able to change what port the normal Zebra functionality operates on in the config file.
Yeah, you can see where I'm highlighting here.
And to be fair, we'll be nice about this. This was not mentioned in the instructions, so it's an understandable mistake.
remember when I said we're just hooking shit together to make it work as fast as possible? That implies that so BFT and Zcash proof of work each have totally independent networking stacks and protocols, and so they each have their own IP address, or each have their own port. So it's a pain to change the port number for BFT. Does anyone know the option to change the proof of work port number?
Yeah, I got it. I'm taking
On a network, there's listen address or listen address.
Yeah, you're able to see this on my screen. I've got it highlighted here.
Let's see. And if that is not routable, you should still be able to connect anyway to the proof of work network and learn about new blocks. Is that true?
What do you mean by it's not routable? Like if somebody
Oh,
can't on the outside?
yeah. If you're not, if you're listening or people can't connect.
Yeah, you can sync from behind NAT. That's fine. That works.
Okay, great.
Yeah, because we have the DNS link peers for the proof of work network, and then we have public nodes that we're providing for the proof of stake network. So that should handle all the NAT punching shenanigans.
Yeah.
So by the end of this, everyone should have a crosslink section with a listen address, which is 0.0.0, a public address, and a Malachite peers array.
Why don't we go ahead and yeah,
Sam, I
that's good.
Sam, I didn't catch that.
There. Well, it's 0.0.0 with the right port that matches the public address.
Yeah. And yeah, if your public address and therefore your listen address uses the same port as the network listen address port, then change the network listen address port. Dennis, we are only launching Crosslink, right? It runs both the proof of work and the proof of stake side of things at once.
Yeah, just to clarify, because it may be important for some people, what we're doing is running this weird Frankenstein node that's sort of a conglomeration of two things. And the proof of work side of Zebra is still connecting to mainnet. And then this BFT side is only connecting to the other people here on this list. So yeah, just so you know. So if you are running this and you're not synced up fully to the proof of work network, you'll begin syncing and other people are too, and that's okay. Dennis, does that clarify?
Malachite peers is something that should appear after sync, or should I manually add them? Do you mean this Malachite peers config option? You need to copy and paste that from the side chat message that Sam added. And so you need to do that manually.
Yeah, Dennis, don't. You can keep trying in text if you're not clear.
Okay, I have my crosslink section created, but I missed what we're supposed to do if I'm using port 8233. Okay, so if you scroll to the network section, there is an entry called listen address, which is 0.0.0 colon 8233. If you change this 8233 to something else, it doesn't really matter what it is, as long as it doesn't conflict to anything, then that should be fine.
To also just note that it's totally safe to do this with the mainnet because our BFT chain and none of our functionality interacts with mainnet consensus or anything that would
Yes,
affect
Sean.
the chain at all. Was
I
that?
want you to run, Sean, I want you to run ZebraD right now so that I can see you show up on my screen here.
Oh,
We've got 3 out of 11 nodes are voting currently. I believe we can get up to 8, or we need to get up to 8, to sound the horn, and then we can all go home happy. I cannot see any individual person. I can just see the count. Now we're up to 4 out of 11. Oh, yeah.
Right. I have not yet started mine. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think we called that out. If you haven't started your node yet, start your node.
Just started.
When you hear the soundboard thing, no, wait, there isn't a soundboard on stage. Never mind.
No, you're right. No soundboard.
all right, for everyone who is taking part, would you mind just mentioning what your status is, whether you're running or still configuring or struggling with something? Right, I am, unless anyone needs any other assistance, I'm going to run my node as well. Right, we can and so if you don't have anything in particular you want to look at, then a decent thing to do is put -1 in here, select target BFT block, and then hit track height. And it'll keep you up to date with the latest BFT stuff.
We're at 7 out of 11 now. Which is, we're almost there. Now the number 7, I believe, 7 out of 11 is enough. If somebody turns on and then turns back on again, it might not be noticeable in this number. So it's important we stay up. Okay, people are running.
Ooh. If you don't think it's used in the config, then you need to specify that in the command line. I'll show you what it looks like. It's your one sec, the binary and then -- config, and then the path to your toml file. Like that. Can you paste that? Yeah. Well, I'm assuming that people will have different paths. Yeah, so if you are not using your config, then you'll be basically using you'll have your own BFT network of just yourself. And so this will be probably a 1-of-1 vote. So if you're seeing that, then you may need to restart with the config specified.
Yeah, that's a good diagnosis. It should say /11, or you should be seeing. Oh, there. Oh. We got some voting happening, and we have a block.
We have a block.
We have a block.
Time
for the
Whoop, whoop.
celebration.
Pop the champagne.
Here we go.
We have consensus.
Amazing.
Good job, everybody.
That's
did
so
it.
cool.
My party hat.
Sam, you want to explain what's happening behind the scenes there when a block is created, maybe? What's the process and when might we expect the next block?
Things are still, the way this works is still a little bit shaky. So one node will get selected to be the proposer, and will propose a block. And when it proposes a block, it currently just picks whatever it thinks the most recent. Oh, there we go, another block. Height 2, everybody. Well, there's a little bit of difference. In the console, it says height equals 4 right now. Round equals 2. That's the one that's about to be decided. And then the GUI, it's showing that 2 is done. And that's because there's an off by 1 in how we show in the GUI versus how Malachite counts it currently. Right, so somebody gets chosen as the proposer, and so they will choose the most recent BFT block they know about to propose, or at the top of the range. And then that proposal gets submitted around to all other participants, and they will vote. Either they time out and they don't see either they receive the proposal, think that it's invalid, vote against it, or they'll vote for it if they think it is valid. Or if they don't see anything, they vote to go to the next round. And so we go in these rounds, and in each round, a new block proposer is chosen. Now, there's a catch here, which is because we're syncing mainnet, our different nodes are at different levels synced. And so if somebody is the proposer and it has seen more recent proof of work blocks, their proposal won't be considered valid by the others because it uses proof of work blocks that they haven't seen yet. And so they vote against it. And so we actually hop around until we get to one of the nodes that is further back in its syncing, because it will propose the block containing only proof of work headers that the others are aware about, and so they can vote for it. And so, yeah, where was I going with that? Oh yeah, and so that means that things aren't working necessarily as fast as they could do on a real deployed network, and that's because we're sort of moving. We're doing this. Everybody is syncing mainnet and trying to agree upon what they're syncing.
Right, and we can see what I was saying earlier about these big jumps where we have a huge number of proof of work blocks between each BFT block. You can do this long scroll and at some point find number 3. Maybe. Or we can just go -2. Yeah, so they're, what was that? 11,000 apart?
Yeah, and then there's also this threshold thing of we have 11 people in our finalizer set or set of peers. They all have equal voting power. And so we either need 7 votes or 8 votes, I think, to commit to a block, which means that if we're hovering around this number, if one person drops out, then we no longer can come to consensus. And that's because we have offline nodes who are not voting. And to be offline is the same as being malicious in this case, or being inactive. So we see here, we're on round 13 right now. But so one good sign is if the rounds are increasing, if the round number is going up, that means at least, because you need less people, you need a small amount of peers to agree that the current round is not going to succeed and that we should move on to the next round than you do to commit to a block and come to consensus. So the fact that we're on round 15 right now means that, okay, the rounds are happening. We're agreeing that this is not working. The current round that it is. But I wonder if maybe somebody turned off their node. That could have happened.
I'm one of the people. I'm getting an application panic on line 385, which has to do with my Malachite peer set. But I have a Malachite peer set in my Zebra Tummel, so I don't know what's going on. So let's just.
Could you paste the error?
Sure. Yeah. I was gonna paste it, but then I was the only one getting this error, so I thought it was just me. But that's what I'm getting in the chat there.
I mean, what that's saying is there isn't a peer set in the config.
Oh
yeah, but
no, I think it's saying that there's no proof of work chain at all. It says possible that is there any possible between your proof of work and your proof of stake?
I changed my cache directory to a new thing. Do I have 2 Crosslink sections in my tunnel? No, I do not. That's a good question, though. I'll paste my Crosslink section.
This map running the server version, the GUI version would not load on the server. Right.
That makes sense because it probably links either libwayland or X11 or stuff like that because of the GUIs.
Oh, yeah, very important GUI thing. If you're running the GUI, then if you open this side tray here, then you can click this button, audio enabled, and then when new nodes come, you'll be alerted by delightful noises, and also when you select. I don't know if you can hear over my my screen share.
Yeah, we can hear.
Noise coming through.
Oh, we did make it to height 7.
Good stuff. And we've been talking a little bit about the consensus. Yeah, there we go. Nodes have just arrived. We increased in height. We have this just small indicator on the side of the type of consensus messages that we are currently receiving.
Nice. Haven't seen that
I should say as well, there's something additional to say, and I can say this from my BFT experience. This thing where you do a round robin on who will propose. That works well. You can imagine it like this: if there's only one guy who can propose a block that the others will accept, which is not quite true in this case, but maybe, slightly true or leaning that direction, because the guy far behind the others who needs to propose in this current regime we have set up, it is a little bit of a worst case because the bigger your N, the set of peers, the more round changes you need to do to eventually go all the way to have that guy be the proposer who is at the back of the pack. This wouldn't be a problem if we were finalizing the up-to-date Zcash network. Then a block happens every 1.2 minutes, and so everybody's going to know about this most recent block. But right now, since we're doing this rapid syncing, the different nodes can get quite out of sync with each other in terms of what they consider to be the most recent proof of work. And so that causes this to be slower than it might otherwise be.
Yeah, it's a case that the rapid syncing provides an actual worst case scenario in terms of like network spamminess and all that.
Although it is still working. Just got a new block, new BFT.
If you get weird visualizer issues, then like this, this thing going off to the side, you can jump to the tip, and then jump back again, and it'll reset and probably fix itself.
Do
Right,
we?
so
So we're still at 8 or 11. Who has not yet managed to connect? Mark, is yours still continually doing
Yeah,
this?
I'm still scratching my head trying to figure out why I'm still getting that panic. The config file's in the right place, and I have the right config, so I might just
on startup, you can double check that it's running the right config. It'll say, just
Right.
underneath the banner, config equals some path.
and Mark, does the log output mention connecting to proof of work peers and seeing new blocks?
Yeah, I have all the log entries that are successes equal 14, errors equal 11, tries to connect to a whole bunch, fails on some, but I have, as far as I can tell, 14 proof of work peers.
Nate.
Yeah.
Are you're not currently not connected to this thing?
No, I'm not.
Okay, do you want to be connected to this thing?
Is it? Well, yes, but my address is not up there.
Yeah, exactly. So, but you can. So this is a little bit more experimental, but I can try and lend you my address.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
I
and
was
that should
also
work.
curious if I can just join with what happens if I try to join with the roster, but no publicly routable port, or
Well,
those
that is
options
what
unset.
that is what this is basically going to be. So here, if you want to, and please nobody else do this at the same time, because I don't know what will happen there. If you want to put, let's see, I just tried to copy paste it across laptops. That doesn't work.
I know, but it should, right?
It should. I have a chip in my arm that can transfer the data. Okay.
Yeah.
If you want to set that as your public address,
Yeah.
then and then run with so you get the Malachi peer set like everybody else has, and then that is your public address, and that should, and maybe change the port to match up on your listen address. But
Wait, so but I wouldn't have a
no, you wouldn't.
uh
This is just me being paranoid.
yeah. So you just want to see what happens if I do that?
Well, I'm pretty sure you should be able to connect to this network.
Okay. I'll try it.
I have.
What's
I
the
can.
college? Are we gonna just let this run? Does everybody just let their nodes run until the network just comes down, or?
Oh, yeah. As Sam was saying earlier, we need at least 2/3 of the nodes running for the sake of the network. So we're hoping all of you can continuously run this
Yes, right now
indefinitely.
it's a very
Yeah, you're all
fragile
committed.
technology.
No, just kidding. Yeah, I guess it just keeps going until it doesn't go anymore, and
Yeah.
that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, we currently aren't producing any blocks anymore because I went offline, but we should be able to resume if Nate starts this up.
It's worth noting that there's no within node persistence. Like nothing is getting written to a database. So if you close and reopen, then the only way that you get the information about the existing chain is by communicating with other people.
Yeah, which
This
is
also means that you keep the entire chain in memory at once, and so at some point, your the amount of memory required to keep it in to keep the entire chain will probably be too much, and the program will slow down to a crawl or break, or your OOM, your Linux OOM will kill something. 0 darts. If I currently run Zebra node already, then the recommended specs are the same.
Yes,
I imagine
although if we have an infinite growing memory usage on this thing, and so what is the min spec for that? Any success, Nate?
Let's see. Yeah, I just have set up a new temporary directory with ZBRD on my path. So now I'm generating the config file. Now I'm editing the config file. Okay, I have the Malachite peers, and I'm gonna copy public address. Is that it?
Yep.
And can I just leave listen address unspecified, or should I set it to something?
I'm pretty sure it will work.
Mark,
sorry.
if you sorry, Bob.
Oh, it'll work if I don't set it? Or
Yes.
I'll just try it and see what happens.
Yeah. If you don't set a listen address, we currently pick a random listen address, which has been working mostly for me. But when you have weird ghostly issues that we need to talk with the informal guys about, you never know quite what the source is, which can make you a little bit paranoid.
Yeah, that offer goes to anyone who is trying to get up and running and struggling. Feel free to share your screen. We'll see if we can diagnose it. But I mean, at this point, we've successfully hit minimum viable demo, and it's all going great.
Yeah, I work for Shielded Labs, so I can follow up internally on this one. I'm gonna just abstain from this, but I had it working yesterday, and it was very satisfying, so I'm happy.
If also, if anyone has suggestions for how to improve this process or anything else like that, you can let us know either here or async, or through GitHub issues. I posted the issue tracker link earlier. So I started the node. I don't have GUI, and this is one I built. Do I need to enable an option?
Build a boot. Wait, are you building on Mac or on Nix?
It's on Mac.
Okay, then you should be that should be easy to get the visualizer.
Yeah.
What are the flags, Andrew? Do we recall?
--F VIZ underscore GUI, and if you want audio, then comment audio as well.
Okay. But anyway, I just built the process, but it was giving a lot of output. Number of validators having voted 1 of 11. Requesting vote set. Height equals 1.
It'll look like that while syncing. So, I mean, I'd say run it again, and then we'll see if your height ticks up. I mean, but run with the visualizer, obviously, because.
Well, I'll leave it running while I rebuild.
Right.
Let's see.
Would we like the Zebra D-log for the demo? Unless something weird is happening, we're probably all right. Thank you for the offer. I'm not sure if that would give us anything useful. If things are breaking, though, that might be handy. But it sounds, Sean, I think you said that it was running okay for you before.
Let's see. So it seems like we're sort of approaching winding up or winding down, but I could say a little bit more about the roadmap and also a little bit of speculative stuff. So for the roadmap, so this milestone, this mainnet shadowing mode connects to mainnet, so it doesn't rely on any changes to proof of work consensus. The next milestone we're working on is the first one that modifies proof of work headers to point back to the BFT stuff. And so that will actually introduce finality. That's called milestone 3. But there still won't be any proof of stake. So there's still no staking or delegating. The milestone after that is when we add all of that good stuff. So at the end of milestone 4, we should have something that's roughly functionally complete, but still really rough around the edges. And then after that, we want to lock it down, like make sure we're reviewing all of the design decisions for safety and security, and productionizing it and getting good test nets running and getting more eyes on it and stuff like that. But I think roughly this process, ooh, that's exciting. Roughly this process is going to be what it's like to run a finalizer on the mainnet when it's ready, with the exception of, you know, to be a finalizer, there's going to be a limit to the roster size, and so you need enough delegated ZEC to be on that roster. And I think that's the only obvious difference I can think of right now, in terms of what the experience of operating a finalizer would be like. Should just be running this node once you have enough delegated ZEC. Also, oh yeah, just one other bit. We're particularly interested in getting feedback from people who have experience running validators for other EFT networks or any proof of stake network, just because, yeah, we want more user product feedback earlier on as we're going, so we can fix anything that we can.
One final comment about the demo I would make is if people are running on private computers like a laptop or whatever, and it's possible there's some flakiness with the private connections, so have a check in your number of validators having voted. If it looks different somehow, if it looks odd, then it may be worth closing and restarting. I think Sam has something to say.
Well, I was just going to say that we have 2 Shield Lab VPSs that I will make sure stay up for at least the next couple of days, I think. And so it'll be possible to, with this roster set, you should be able to boot up on your own time. Even you know, if you don't tell anybody, you could borrow an IP address from the list to connect from your laptop, even though you weren't here for the call to do it live. And you should be able to connect and sync up to, what are we at? Height 17, height 16, something like that. To test the software even after this call has ended.
I'm a little bit curious about that. So, like right now, I'm using your public address.
Yes.
But I don't have an IP address that can be connected to. So am I just making outgoing connections?
You are just making outgoing connections, and we believe that to be, although we have to check with Malachite people, because I'm pretty sure Malachite has been designed from the perspective of everybody can connect to everybody always. And in this situation, you can connect out, but other people can't connect in. And so occasionally we've noticed that, you know, the node on a laptop behind NAT will, for some reason, end up terminating its connections, and then because nobody can phone it and it doesn't phone out, I guess because it's waiting for people to talk to it, then you end up with no connections. But you can restart, and then it will reconnect out to other people and sync back up. So that issue only affects those nodes who are behind NAT and can only make outgoing connections.
That would be me. And so far, I'm still seeing like no peer to request vote set at height equals 3.
Hmm.
Oh, so you've got some nodes, but
You did get some.
maybe just
Yeah.
try restarting it.
Okay. What are the symptoms of? Oh wait. What are the symptoms, or what should I see in the log file if I'm hitting that condition that I might hit behind that, where I'm losing?
We believe it's that one. Yeah, no peers to request vote set from.
Okay.
Oh well. Yeah, there's that, and like you just noticed that you're behind. We need to ask the informal guys, I think, for I would at least like a little bit more introspection into stuff like who am I connected to, etc., so that we can put it on the visualizer. But that's a story for another day.
Does that seem to be connecting, Nate?
Um. Let's see. Sync required. Height tip equals 5. Height sync equals 6. Height peer equals 16. Does that mean I've seen BFT block height 5?
I think it means your node can successfully get to height 5, but it's aware that other people are higher.
That might be a proof
Okay.
of work thing, but yeah. Are you running with the GUI?
Not yet. Let me go check if
Okay.
it built. Yeah, it just built, so I could try that again.
Any questions from anyone else about how it works or what we're doing or anything else?
Why don't we call it there then? And people can keep running their nodes and they can follow up with us privately, and Nate can troubleshoot with us on Signal. Thanks, Dismad, for the shout out. How does it work, Zero Darts? What do you mean?
I can explain that. Okay, like on the internet, it's basically like a
Yeah.
series of tubes. We're taking a lot of duct tape, and it just goes from there.
It works very carefully.
We recruited some hamsters to walk around in the tubes. They're not very well behaved.
All right, thanks everybody. I'm gonna bounce off here. This was awesome, and we'll see you at the next milestone.
Cool.
Thanks a lot,
But
everyone.
seriously, Zero Darts, if you're serious about wanting to know more about the design, ping me, or you can go look for. Yeah, I don't have the URLs handy right now, but we have like some design documentation. So I don't know if you're serious, but I'm interested in helping anyone who wants to learn about the design. Okay.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Cheers, everyone. Catch you later.
Thanks.